Lucky, what did you just do, baby? I'm looking at you later. Babe, about to be on punishment already. Turn around for 1 second. They doing stuff. Peace everyone, how's it going? Let's see here. I got on my dead girl earrings again. Got on Bride of the Alchemist. I've been wearing this one a lot lately, still doing with the Bride of Christ. Peace, Jeremiah, how's it going? It's interesting, cause I just watched the movie about the prophet Jeremiah, and that name has been coming up a lot lately. So I did get the insight and the inspiration to go live. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of didn't want to go live. I've been doing my own thing, and I have been given work by the Most High. I had to deliver some messages to some YouTubers that I subscribe to, and today this was the message I had to deliver. So I'm gonna jump right in. We are looking at Isaiah 3 verses 16, and I'm going to go to chapter 4 verse 1 through 3 maybe. All right, so before I start, this prophecy is pertaining to the conditions of the black woman and how it has been prophesied about, and what we see happening with black women today, and some of the things that have happened to the black woman, particularly pertaining to physical appearance, a black woman's ability to be beautiful from the inside out, in a system of oppression, and the self-hatred of the black woman through her appearance and inability to connect to her, African genetics. Culture is one thing. There's a lot of different cultures, but being genetically African, which is basically being dominantly genetic, a lot of black women have a hard time connecting to that. This is not just based on a phenotype that looks like mine. There's several light-skinned black women who are trying to connect to cultural elements that they don't embody. They're trying to prove that they're black because they're clearly recessive. Their skin is lighter, so they're trying to do things to prove that they're black, and it can come off the wrong way. There's plenty of actually mixed women, not just women whose skin is lighter or have albinism, but women who are mixed with recessive genetic traits that have a lot of cognitive dissonance and are trying to prove their blackness or their African culture, and it doesn't come off as self-love. So again, we know the conditions of the dark-skinned, natural-haired black woman that looks like me. We understand the problem with self-love being related to my phenotype or our phenotype being considered hyper-masculine, unattractive, and Hollywood narratives depicting women in my phenotype in hyper-masculine, overly aggressive, or overweight maternal stereotypes. You will not see me in Hollywood, because that would destroy the mass propaganda agenda that has put a spell on black men and rendered them inferior. So I'm going to read this scripture, and then I'm going to continue. Isaiah 3:16. And Jehovah says, for the reasons the daughters of Zion have become haughty, and they walk with their throats stretched forth and oogling with their eyes. They go walking with tripping steps, and with their feet they make a tinkling sound. Jehovah also will actually make the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion scabby. Make the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion scabby. For you sisters who have lost your crown because you're too busy trying to look like European Caucasian woman, or because you're too busy trying to look like the black woman in media who wear weave. Jehovah will also actually make the crown of the head of the daughters of Zion scabby, and Jehovah himself will lay their forehead bare. In that day, Jehovah will take away the beauty of the bangles and the headbands and the moon-shaped ornaments, the eardrops and the bracelets and the veils, the headdresses and the step chains and the breastbands, and the houses of the soul, and the ornamental humming shells, the finger rings and the nose rings, the robes of state and the overtunics, and the cloaks and the purses, and the hand mirrors, and the undergarments, and the turbans, and the large veils. At this I will say a lot of black women go above and beyond what is necessary to try and adorn themselves with what they consider African cultural garments and jewelry and things, and it actually does not bring out their beauty. I embrace my Scottish last name and Scottish heritage because it looks good on me, and I can wear anything and present it as any culture, because that's when you have that actual genetic diversity that is of the dominant genetic. So what this scripture is actually talking about is that no matter how a lot of black women try to come back to their African cultural appreciation and adorn themselves in ways that show that they love themselves, they are still not beautiful from the inside out. They're still not presenting that self-love. And again, the beauty is taken away from all these adornments. It's not radiating the black woman anymore. Again, this is just talking about prophecy. And it must occur, this is verse 24 continuing, and it must occur that instead of balsam oil, there will come to be merely a musty smell, and instead of a belt, a rope, and instead of an artistic hair arrangement, baldness, and instead of a rich garment, a girding of sackcloth, a brand mark instead of prettiness. Those of you sisters who are buying all these name brand clothes and you still look like a clown, and you still are unattractive, and you still cannot adopt the beauty and the grace and the sensuality of the Latina women who you're really trying to emulate, or of the European women that you're really trying to emulate. You still don't have that level of class to it. This is prophecy. Buying brand name clothes instead of you making the clothes $1 million, worth $1 million. So again, this is all talking about the fact that black women, in prophecy, it was prophesied that the black woman would lose her beauty and would lose her ability to be a model, meaning to be the ideal standard and aesthetic of femininity. By the sword your own men will fall, and your mightiness by war. And her entrances will have to mourn and express sorrow, and she will certainly be cleaned out. She will sit down on the very earth. Chapter 4. And 7 women will actually grab hold of one man in that day, saying, we shall eat our own bread and wear our own mantles. Only may we be called by your name to take away our reproach. This is really what I wanted to get to. So Isaiah chapter 4 verses 1. Again, black women and your despicable polygamist animal farm sexuality. This has been prophesied. Isaiah chapter 4 verses 1. And 7 women will actually grab hold of one man in that day, saying, we shall eat our own bread and wear our own mantles, meaning you don't have to protect and provide for me, black man. Only may we be called by your name to take away our reproach. I know you're sleeping with other women. I know you ain't shit, black man. I know you don't have anything that a husband should have. I don't care. I'm an independent woman. I'm taking care of myself. I can buy my own clothes. I can buy my own food. I can even take care of my child on my own. I just need you to say that you're my man. Because I can't be in a world where I'm unmarried and I have all these kids. Or I just simply don't want to be an unmarried woman. I simply don't want to be a woman who doesn't have a man. Because I don't want to be exposed for the lacking beauty and self-worth. This is very important. These things are very important. Again, this was something that Most High told me to deliver. And at this time, I just want to say, personally, I'm grateful for the fact that I don't have children. I'm grateful for being able to use my gifts as a witch for the Most High, the gifts that I was endowed with, the understanding of nature and spirituality, to be a servant to the Most High. One of the best things that you can do is be chosen by the Most High to not bear children, and sometimes that comes with not being married, but being a servant to the Most High. Jeremiah didn't want to, Jonah didn't want to do what he had to do. But sometimes you got to understand that it is still a gift. And with great power comes great responsibility. So those of you women who are considered barren, remember that in the Bible, the women who were barren were the ones that God favored most. A lot of women are nothing but baby making machines. But the women who were barren and who were blessed with to have children in their old age, Sarah, Martha, John the Baptist's mother, these were women who were chosen to be foremothers and great matriarchs. Okay, even Naomi, whose husband and her 2 sons were taken away, when Ruth came to her through Naomi's bloodline, who Boaz was of Naomi's bloodline, through Naomi's bloodline, and through Ruth being her daughter-in-law, begot King David. Okay, King David was begot. So, and that is the tribe of Judah. So, right now, black women, it's very hard. It's very difficult for us because of the punishment that our men are enduring. But I want you all to understand that it has been prophesied. And so to you sisters who still have your natural crown, congratulations. To you sisters who understand the importance of having a relationship with your natural hair, whatever texture it is, congratulations. Another thing that I would like to say is aside from, there are some other prophecies that talk about woe is the woman suckling a baby during the last days. So I have on several occasions encouraged particularly black women who have it a lot harder than anyone else, to not have children and to not be so quick to have children. Something I'm proud of is that I always had my own intellect and my ability to think for myself and my own talents that I wanted to pursue and other things that I could pursue, and that comes with self-worth. So it's nothing wrong with finding the value in motherhood and always wanting to have been a mother. But remember, black women, being a mother starts with being a wife first. And this is something that black women, are really estranged from. The the conditions where there are eligible men or princes or bachelors available to eligible single virgins. Most black women, most women, but talking about prophecy, are not waiting till marriage to have sex. That's one thing. But I will say the deliberate decision to not wait till marriage to have children is exactly why Isaiah chapter 4 verse 1, and 7 women will actually grab hold of one man in that day, saying, we shall eat our own bread and wear our own mantles, and only may we be called by your name to take away our reproach. Peace, Zeus. I'm good. So, right now black women understand the conditions. Our men have abandoned us for white women. That is first and foremost. That happened before. It was also prophesied. That's one of the reasons black men are being punished. Understand, black women, you're not going to be eligible to date a man outside of the sons of Zion, or the black men who are dealing with these curses, if you yourself don't have that inner beauty to relate to men who are eligible, whether they be black or from another race. So a lot of black women have learned to be beauty queens, but are very empty inside. This is the judgment that was passed on the black woman. And just like our men are dying and being mass incarcerated and being publicly humiliated through different forms of social castration. But the number one public humiliation of the black man is his inability to relate to the black woman, and him flocking to the white woman to show that he is not man enough for the woman that God made for him. That's the number one way that the ruling class that God appointed to correct the Hebrew Israelites humiliates the black man, by displaying to the world that he is not man enough for the black woman. Okay, so sisters, realize you're not going to be woman enough for a man who outside of the black race, or for a black man who is eligible, if you don't understand where beauty comes from. So it's not just about going natural. If you're just now going natural, that's great. Everyone's at a different point in their life. You could be a 12-year-old just now deciding to go natural, or you could be in your 50s. Those are two completely different stages in life. But you start somewhere. But sisters, most of you are going natural because you want to, for the same reason that you wore weave. And that's not beauty. That's still that same ugliness. And I wanted to title this God Don't Like Ugly. But I wanted to really remind black women that you are beautiful. And there is a lot of white women who are given positions of authority and who take authority simply because they're white, and deep down they believe that you're inferior to her. And they'll have this attitude of, how dare you be a prophet? How dare you have divination? How dare you have any other quality than this sexualized beauty? And it's okay for you to be beautiful because we can sexualize it. But how dare you have any other quality that shows you're actually the daughters of the Most High? You're actually in the reflection of the goddess. And by saying goddess, I'm talking about the feminine aspect of the Most High. At this time, I must remind anyone listening that it does state in the Bible that God made woman for man, not man for the woman. Just like God made black people in his image, just like God made a lot of other things. You didn't create. It is not your place to appoint authority to the woman, just because we live in a world where ideals of sexism and sexual oppression have gotten misconstrued. God did not say the man was to abuse the fact that the woman was created as a gift to him. The Bible also clearly states that the man is to treat his wife as he would his own flesh. But to sisters, remember, you were created for the man. So at this time, I want to talk to some women who are a little bit too proud because they cover their head a lot of times because you don't know how to do your own hair, or you don't know, you know, your hair doesn't become you. But you're a little too proud because you cover your head, and you're a little too proud because of you cover up your body. And this is more so to American women, because see, women in other countries, they actually have these cultural elements that they abide by, but American women get so proud and haughty over our liberation movements that even those of you who are speaking from a conscious perspective or a Black revolutionary perspective, don't forget, sisters, just because you're covering up doesn't mean the Most High approves of the type of femininity you have. And so the Most High told me, you know, I'm not going to talk about my personal choices to be comfortable, but again, you cannot enter the Ark of the Covenant unless you are in your natural state. So me, I like to embody more of my Eve. That is not to say some of you Black women, it would be divine or becoming of you to express yourself in a way that's not natural to you. Cover up if it's natural to you. Express yourself, be comfortable if it's natural to you. The Most High gives you some correction, heed it. But this is what I want to say. You sisters who think that you're practicing divine femininity because you're covering up, it doesn't mean you actually know your place as a woman. So don't think because you cover up that the Most High approves of how you feel about being a woman. You need to humble yourself. You need to learn to take off your clothes and be a little bit more comfortable being sexy and learning how to arouse men as a woman and not be so haughty and forget your place as a woman just because you're not comfortable being a woman. You want to be a man. You want to take on these positions of authority that were given to a man. And I'm talking to especially you women who are married, because the Bible talks about your place as a wife and a woman. And I'm, of course, not telling women that you can't do anything else. But your number one position, you need to make sure that you are being humble before your husband. And you have to take responsibility. If you chose a husband who is not led by the Most High, well, you have to take responsibility for entering a marriage where the head that you chose is not being governed by the Most High. But if you are women, you need to be humble, because you need to understand how God created you and how God designed you. There's nothing wrong with being intellectual. But think about how much do you really enjoy having sex with a man, with your husband? How much do you really enjoy cooking for a man and your children? How much do you really enjoy the things that your body are designed to do, including being pregnant? Okay, we understand birth pains were given because of our flesh is imperfect. And we are in this position, all humanity, where we have to overcome the conditions of our flesh. And some of us who know that we are of the bloodline of the fallen angels, who have certain traits like witchcraft, or being a wizard, or being a warlock, or being a siren, which in the book of Enoch it states that the women who were taken by the fallen angels will become sirens. Okay? For those listening. But some of us, we have a harder condition to overcome because our flesh is enchanted or charmed, and we still have to overcome these powers that were given to us by the fallen angels. But it is still for us to worship the Most High in His undeserved kindness and mercy. This is what the Bible is about. This is what the Bible is for, to help humans understand. Again, this is the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. So this is what I was sent to remind women, especially Black women right now. Be careful. Understand what has happened to Black men, but you got to understand that you don't want to be wrapped up in all of these curses that are happening to Black people so much so you want to align yourself. Get your crown together, get your femininity together. Yeah, some of us, we have to be single. Yeah, it's not approved of for 7 women to be after 1 man. It's approved of to have the beauty and the grace to say, I see the conditions of my race, what's happening. I see that we're in the last days, but I still would rather have the dignity and let the Most High send me a husband, not a boyfriend, not all that other little stuff. Now, again, if you're under the age of 30, under the age of 25, it's okay to be thinking a little differently. I'm a little bit older now. I've been through more things. So I'm not going to talk about people based on their age range and where they are in life. But if you know the truth and the way, the truth and the light, you need to be seeking to be aligned with that. And you need to be doing it every day. Because every day you're fighting the conditions of your flesh. So again, women, are you really humble? Do you really enjoy your position as a woman the way God designed you to be? You're not designed to have promiscuous sex, number one. So don't think that you can go around sleeping around and everything just to get back at these men who are hurting you because they're not committed to you, because you're not requiring a husband, you know, and I've been desperate too. But I realized why would I be desperate to just to be with a black man or you know, if I know better, if I know what's happening and I have the Holy Spirit and can be guided by the Holy Spirit, that's the number one relationship that you should have with the Most High. Then anything else will be brought into your life. And it may not be what you want, but a lot of you women don't actually know what it means to have power and to have beauty. So I'm talking to sisters who are also really understanding that we're in the last days. Don't get desperate. Don't be one of these women, 7 women grabbing for 1 man. Get your relationship with the Most High intact and let that sustain you. Be careful of masturbation. Because again, when you are single or married, when you are susceptible to unclean spirits, that's where incubus and succubus can come in and take over. So don't think just because you're married that you don't have to watch out for masturbation. You know, I'm not ridiculing it. I'm saying be careful in a spiritual context, because spirits can feed off of desperate conditions, and a lot of black women are in these desperate conditions, and you're letting these different dudes dick you down and dealing with all of these different sexual energies because you are sharing men. And you got to understand that these people are having spirits attached to them too. So cleanse yourself and cleanse your space too, so you can have an aura aligned with the Most High, so that your electromagnetic energy is attracting and communicating to suitors who are your husband. Sisters, it's very important that you pray to the Most High that you only become attracted to the man that is your husband. That you remove all attraction and all lust and all desire for any man who is not your husband. Your husband. And if the Most High gives you the message or the insight that you're not meant to be married in this time and place, then I urge you to accept whatever position the Most High sees to use you for. Because a lot of women are just being used to continue the species. And you see what's happened. Their womb has not produced the fruit that the Most High wanted to bear. So rejoice if you are being used for something a little bit more divine than just having a baby. There's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with that. But understand what's happened to black people. We're not in a time of procreation right now. We're in a time of being purged through divine punishment from the Most High. Not just black people. Clearly states that the people from the extremities of the earth, the Caucasian, that was set upon black people as punishment, will be judged as well. So again, to sisters who are dealing with these racist white women who are so self-absorbed in having been the standard of beauty and having been the oppressor for so long, ignore her. Ignore that Jezebel, which is the spirit of the white woman, the spirit of covetousness. Okay, the white woman meaning the recessive woman, meaning that when I'm saying white woman, I'm associating whiteness with recessiveness and femininity with that girlish attitude of coveting. It's not that a man can't have that attitude, but in my research I realized that the spirit that Jezebel actually, go figure, is translated to purity, chastity. So again, you guys, if you don't know, I'm a witch by now, whatever, but it all falls in place. So I want to remind you all that the spirit of Jezebel is not just something that expresses itself through women. It expresses itself through people who are decadent, who have jealousy in their heart, who covet things that other people have. So that spirit is that ugliness that God doesn't like. Not finding your own beauty. So black women, don't covet the aesthetics of the white woman. Okay? And, to white women listening, who may be saved or Christians, or, who understand the importance of the blood of Christ, things like that, don't covet your position of being the oppressor or your position of being the ruling class right now. White women, humble yourself to the truth about the Bible and the truth about black people being in the image of the Most High and being the original humans. Don't covet all of this media propaganda that has made you, a recessive woman, seem as if you are the mother of us, the black woman from whence you came. So let's be careful, women, who are trying to align themselves with the divinity of the Most High. Sacred femininity starts with being humble before the Most High for whatever position you're sent for whatever gifts you have. Not coveting the gifts that another woman has, meaning if you don't have children, not coveting the fact that another woman may be blessed with a lot of children. If you are single, not coveting the fact that other women have husbands. Or if you're married and you got kids, not coveting the freedom and youth of a single independent woman who has a clean slate to be used by the Most High. Not coveting the traits, the skinniness or the thickness or the long hair or the thicker hair of a woman, or all these things. Not coveting the gifts that other women have, but finding your own beauty and what you have to offer as a woman, not as a man. Don't covet the position that the man was given by the Most High. And this is very important. Do not covet that position. Learn to find your beauty and find your femininity and be humble and learn to be arousing as a woman. It's nothing wrong with, that's why we cover our head, because a lot of us will be taking on positions of authority. It's great to be able to support a man, particularly your husband, in the event that something happens to him, to be able to take on the work that he does. Being smart and being intelligent is very important. But if you can't be humble first, and a lot of you women, you go around picking men who are dumber than you. Men who you can manipulate with your body and with sex and with these things. That's not the femininity that the Most High put in you. The Most High put in you grace and humility before the man. If he's not doing his job as the head of the household, let him be punished. But you make sure you are doing your job, woman. Being humble, not just to a man who's your husband, but to men in general. Because the black man is going to get his just due. Everyone's going to be judged according to their works. It's very important that everyone listening right now worry less about punishment coming to racist white people or to despicable black people or to, you know, feminist women or chauvinist men, things like that. Don't worry about judgment coming to anyone but you. Worry about where you stand with the Most High and whether or not your name is written in the book of life, whether or not you're covered with the blood of Christ, whether or not you're forgiving other people because you need forgiveness because you are not perfect. You didn't create the heaven, the stars, the sun, the moon, male or female. You created nothing. You are a byproduct of creation of the Most High. So it's important everyone worry about where you stand and where you're aligned. Black women, heed this. Worry about your relationship with the Most High and the relationship you have with your reflection and how you look as a black woman, and your relationship with your hair and your relationship with other black women. Because a lot of you black women, you preach unity and you preach all these things, but when it's really time to unite with somebody, you get easily intimidated at the type of women who you actually will be called to unite with. You're not ready for sisterhood. You're not ready to be around other women of power. You're not ready to be around other women who are chosen. So black women, if you don't get your relationship with yourself together, you're not going to be able to have that Holy Spirit to overcome what's really in your heart, that envy, that jealousy. Some of you guys are dealing with greed, and some of you all are dealing with gluttony. You're using gluttony as a way to compensate for not having a man and not having self-esteem. And then you develop envy because you're overweight and you're coveting women who are models. You're coveting that lifestyle. So one sin leads to the next. Just like gateway drugs, gateway sins. So black women, get real with yourself. Don't preach things that you're not ready for. All right? Some of us out here, we really need to be ready to unite with our reflections, and that's what the Bible talks about. The words brother and sister mean you're my reflection. It doesn't just mean we have the same parents or that Abraham is our forefathers and Sarah our foremothers. It means that we are reflections. So when it's time for sisterhood, a lot of you black women are not ready. And a lot of you women in positions of authority or who are in positions of leadership or being a shepherd, you are the ones who fall the hardest when it's time to heed a prophet that is sent to you. So let's all be humble. Let's all pray for discernment to heed the voice of the Most High. And let's all pray for humility to get envy and jealousy out of our hearts. Because black women, that natural envy and natural jealousy of the daughters of Zion that Isaiah is talking about here, and I encourage people to read the whole chapter, that is where the curse comes in. I started a challenge to black women in September or in October of 2017 last year. So it's almost about 6 months now, but it was for a full year for black women to not say anything negative about one another. You can find it on my GoFundMe page or on my Black High Priestess. I would have to bump it because again, it's like 6 months ago, but on my Black High Priestess page on Facebook. I should make a blog of it for my website, but I'm just updating some things. But this is the point. I started that challenge, and it is very important that black women, you take up that challenge to not say anything negative about another black woman in social media, you know, in public, and in your thoughts too. Because black women, we hate each other. We hate seeing each other beautiful and successful. We love crabs in the bucket, but we don't like to see women who have a relationship that reflects that have a relationship with the Most High that is reflected in their beauty, in the way they carry themselves, in the way they're independent, whether or not they're married or single, in their independent thinking. Independence is not just your ability to support yourself. We all need each other. You can be as independent as you want. I bet you don't know how to build a computer yourself. I bet you don't know how to make the electricity work yourself or do the plumbing yourself. Independence is not what you think it is. So just because you're independent, meaning you have your own job and you take care of yourself and you don't need a man to do those things, or you don't have one, it doesn't mean you're independent up here and can think for yourself. And that is the number one form of independence that you need. Because realize, we as humans, we all depend on each other some way or another. But God forbid Black people get to a point where we really have to depend on each other. Because you could see Black unity is not something that's worked because of the curse we're under. Black people, we haven't been able to rely and depend on each other as a whole. Yeah, there's pockets and sections of places and families and things that have demonstrated our ability to come together and unite. But when you're talking about biblical prophecy, not just Black revolution and what Black people need to do, all that Black revolution can go out the window, and you can really have a relationship with the Most High and be guided by that. And you can separate yourself from some of these curses that are affecting the average Black person, the average Black American. All right? Conduct yourselves, poise yourselves, speak clearly and speak with pride. All right? Enough of the niggerishness, brothers and sisters. And Black women, again, pray to get that envy out of your heart, because a lot of you're preaching a lot and you're doing a lot of things, but you really are not working on what you need to work on as a Black woman, which is humility to men, humility to your husband or the men in your life, humility to the Most High, and humility to your sisters. Especially if other Black women are reflecting a relationship with the Most High that you envy, but instead of envying, you should be working to develop yourself, so you don't go around being jealous and easily intimidated every time the Most High shows up in another man or a woman in your life. All right, peace and love.